One of the most beautiful things about video games is that they don't fit into a really neat box. Games can be a lot of things. They could be visual novels, they can be fighting games, they can be huge RPGs with open worlds, and sometimes games can just be something to chill out and relax with. Because of this, games can often be a very difficult thing to qualify, to say this one's good and that one's not good, because games are so different. Really, you have to look at what a game is attempting to be and then put some sort of a qualifying metric on what it was hoping to achieve and if it engages the player in the way that it set out to. My most recent guilty pleasure, Cloud Gardens, is exactly the type of game that you would want to just sit and relax with. The premise of the game is quite simple. You're given a seed and you have to plant it in a landscape. You are then given various objects that you have to place around the new plant to encourage its growth. As the plant grows, it produces flowers, and those flowers can be collected to build more seeds. More seeds then create more flowers and more plants and more flowers, and then you get bigger and bigger till finally you have enough vegetation to complete the level. As you complete levels, you unlock objects that can be used in the sandbox, but you also on occasion will unlock new seeds which allow you to grow different plants. This is where the only real bit of strategy comes in. The different plants do have different qualities. Some of them grow flowers quicker, some of them grow flowers a little bit slower, but they give you a lot more seed power so you can build more seeds quicker, and they all get planted in different surfaces. Some of them need soil, some of them do better on surfaces that are horizontal versus vertical. You have to think about what type of seed you want to plant so that you can maximize your vegetation in the landscape. The real catch here is, even if you're not really planning, this isn't a particularly hard game. Sure, you're gonna fail sometimes. That's going to happen in this game. But with minimal planning, you should be able to succeed in this game. The visual effects in this game are not exactly spectacular, but I'd classify them somewhere between good and great. The overall style really pulls together. It definitely seems unified, but I really would have liked to see, with such a simplistic game, a lot more polish, potentially a lot more fidelity in these graphics. But what they did was more than acceptable. For a relaxing game like this, the music is a key to the experience. And in Cloud Gardens, I think that they kind of nailed this. Now, one of the interesting things here is that none of the music really stood out. But I think that that was the objective. The idea is that you want to have more of an ambient sound. You don't want anything to enter in a salient way the player's mind. You don't want them to actually know that they're hearing it. You need it to be yet another element that is lulling the player's mind into that relaxing zone. And I think Cloud Gardens has done exactly that. If you think this entire experience sounds simplistic and subdued, that's because it is, and it's meant to be exactly that. Here you're not going to find any twitchy controls. You're not going to find deep strategies that need to be well thought out. This is a game that after a very long day at work, you just want to sit down and completely zone out. And this game does exactly that. Multiple times I sat down and just completely lost track of time. I built landscape after landscape without even knowing really why I was doing it. I mean, sure, yes, you collect a few objects after every single level, and you can use that in the sandbox mode where you can freely create a landscape, but I was doing it because I was in a zone of relaxation. To add a little anecdote, though, into this review, I enjoyed this game enough that I wanted to show it to my family. So both my 8-year-old son and my wife, I took aside and showed this game to them and said, look at these cool gardens. I'm able to build this awesome stuff. Both of them had the exact same reaction. They looked at me like I was crazy. And that's when it dawned on me that this is a game that almost needs to be played to truly understand what it is. That, and it's up against this preconceived notion that video games have to be a very active pastime. They don't. And Cloud Gardens is an example of how they don't have to be that way. They can be semi-passive or semi-active. This game captures your attention and allows you to do somewhat repetitive actions just to sit and relax. My only criticism here is that I wish that there was more to this game. I wish that there was more seeds in the very beginning. I wish that there was more fidelity to the graphics. There is quite a few levels here, and I'm sure that there's a bunch of seeds that I haven't even seen yet. And if you look at the level selector, you can see they're even planning to build more levels into this game. That's all great, but I just wish that this game was a little more grand. Everything that's here right now does exactly what this game wants to be, but for this game to be a perfect game, it needed to just be more of what it already is. With all of this said, I'm giving Cloud Gardens 85 pixels out of 100. If you liked this video, then you should like this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you should check out some of my other content, and if you like that content, you should consider subscribing. Until next time, this has been Pixel.